The motion that would be presented in the Tobago House of Assembly legislature on Thursday the 24th of January will be the first motion that I have the privilege of presenting. So I am particularly happy because of that. This motion came from the understanding that our traditional sand, sea and sun experience of tourism in Tobago has not really been panning out. If we only use the sand, sea and sun model, we are competing with every other island in the Caribbean. So what we chose to do is to create an enhanced tourism product by marrying education and tourism by creating this University of Tobago. This University of Tobago would be geared primarily to outsiders coming in and being trained locally. What we've discussed is the fact that this is an opportunity to bring in that direct foreign exchange because they will be paying tuition. Now, in addition to the direct benefits of paying tuition and so forth, we also have the spin-off where individuals within the various communities would then have to house the students that are here. Their friends and families would then come and be a part of experiencing us. So we then inflate this population size of Tobago by creating this artificial community, this community that brings people in, forces people to come in and forces people to be here year-round because they are part of this university community.
How soon do you want this University of Tobago established? And do you think the Tobago House of Assembly has the capacity?
Well, one of the things I spoke about this morning on a different station was the fact that what we need to do, though we had identified 4 key faculties that we propose, what we need to do is to have a group of professionals, a group of scholars in this area really sit down and look at the other communities, look at the other islands where there are universities, see what they offer and to see what Tobago can offer that is unique to us. That is why when we looked at the motion originally, we spoke about faculty that relates to food production, marine and environmental studies, because that is something that is important for us here in Tobago, and it is something that we can market as unique to Tobago, unique to the University of Tobago. So whether we are ready for this, we are going to be ready for it. We need this. Our economy needs this. If we listen to the Prime Minister and we listen to the Minister of Finance and so forth, they have been speaking about diversifying the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. Away from oil and gas, yes, we've been fortunate to have oil and gas, but we need to diversify. They have gone ahead and looked at the medical tourism aspect of it by saying that they will convert the Couva Children's Hospital into basically a teaching hospital and so forth. That is what that means. What we are saying is that we can use another end of the service industry by providing educational tourism on the island of Tobago. So we are not going to try to compete with what happens in St. George's or even what they are planning to do in Trinidad, but we will do something slightly different. And we have the data that shows that having an educational system, that is marketed outside has ripple effects locally. There is the effect of one, yes, having the individuals come in and bring in that foreign resource and so forth, but there's the added benefit of having a space where our local professionals can get top-class, world-class training. And when we have top-class, world-class training happening right here, it means that our professionals will then go into their specific areas, whether it is in the hospital, whether it's in the tourism sector. We keep talking about the fact that we don't have proper customer service and so forth. Those kinds of things can be dealt with at this university so that the entire island benefits from greater productivity because we have a cadre of workers coming out who are absolutely well trained.
I know, Dr. Faye, that you do a lot of research, and there's a similar situation in Grenada, right? what does your research tell you in terms of profitability?
Right, and what I will do, I would present the data that we've actually found on Thursday about Grenada, and there is a direct link. The research shows that there is a direct link between St. George's, being the medical school in Grenada, between the establishment of St. George's and the GDP of Grenada improving. There is a direct link between the number of people that the government of Grenada used to employ, and now that St. George's is there, St. George's is now one of the larger employers on the island. So again, the Tobago House of Assembly always speaks about the fact that they are employing too many people and it's really a burden and so forth. So this is an opportunity for other people, some of the professionals even within the Tobago House of Assembly, to move over to the University of Tobago to ensure that they are part of the it would be the semi-private sector, because initially this would have to have some kind of government involvement to get it started. We are also hoping, unlike what happened or what was proposed with Sandals, we are also hoping to have real direct foreign investment in this. And one of the things we are speaking about, and the motion speaks to it, is to identify other universities that are outside of Trinidad and Tobago who would be willing to partner with us and come in, set up a campus of their university. So it's not like we're starting from absolute scratch, and then design the curriculum around what is needed on the island of Tobago. So we could have the University of Pittsburgh come in, or we could have Carnegie Mellon. And this currently happens in other places. Qatar, which is a country in the Middle East, they have an entire university city where they identified some of the top universities around the world. They all have campuses in Qatar, in their university city, and we can look at replicating that kind of model to help us get off the ground quickly.
What is your, in terms of implementation, any short timelines as to when do you think this sort of model for Tobago in terms of diversification should be implemented?
Short, medium, long term.
Short, medium. Well, this is something that we can start having the think tank, the planners working during this year. We're in 2019, we're at the beginning of 2019. There are professionals that we can call right now to say, okay, let us start working, let us start thinking through this. And Liz, you did mention THTI and those. We are not forgetting that those institutions exist. As a matter of fact, this would be a great opportunity to build on that. So, for example, the faculty that includes the arts, culture, and tourism, that can be modeled around THTI, where THTI then evolves into this faculty. So we are not saying throw away what we have now completely, because we know that we need to build from where we are. And this is why I had a discussion with somebody recently about why the PDP kept saying let us build a better Tobago. And we say let us build better because we know we know where we are, we know we have a foundation on many things, but we need to just do what it takes to make it a little better. And this is what the University of Tobago is going to do. Work on what we have on the ground now, bring in the foreign investors, bring in the foreign minds. They would be willing to come with some of their top lecturers. I can imagine some of my lecturers in Pittsburgh, especially in this January month where Pittsburgh is freezing, would be very willing to move to Tobago and teach courses at a University of Tobago with a University of Pittsburgh link, because we have the sun, sea and sun. And given that, there is an incentive for them to come and partner with us to do this.
Do we have funds to do this?
Now, as I said, the Prime Minister was very willing to spend $5 billion on sandals, so we have the funds. It's sitting somewhere. But what you've identified is something that is critical. Tobago has been on the short end of the stick when it comes to developmental funding for a very, very, very long time. We are quick to spend supplemental funding to go to the World Bank and to go to different places to get additional funding for projects that are based in Trinidad. It is time that Trinidad and Tobago accepts the fact that we are a twin island state and Tobago needs to play catch up with its development. So this idea of giving us $200 and $300 million for developmental funding every year is not going to work. It has not worked for us. It will not work for us. So given that we now have a Tobago Prime Minister who was willing to spend $3 or $5 billion on sandals, funding for this project should not be an issue whatsoever.
Councillor, the proposal of a university city in Tobago, it sounds like a long-term plan, not something that's going to happen overnight. We're looking at 5 years and possibly more. What do you propose in the meantime in terms of diversification? Because in the meantime, sandals has gone. So what do we do in the meantime?
Well, you know, the thing with, unfortunately, the thing with Tobago's planning is that we've never had long-term vision planning. We've always been very quick to think of an idea and to jump at it immediately. If you look at the mandate for the PDP, one of the things we spoke about was looking at a 2030, 2040 vision for Tobago and looking at those things. So yes, it is something that is not going to happen today, but if we plant the seeds today, within 3-4 years, we can have this on the ground running. We can do that, and it is better than doing